do the review with the fan on. Maybe it's not too distracting. But anyway, let's talk about BoJack Horseman. Yes, that's right. BoJack Horseman. This was on Netflix some time ago. And I didn't want to get into it because it seemed like a silly premise. Again, it wasn't exactly advertised very well. It was just some drunkard horse guy. And that's really about it. The humor didn't really stick. You know, it just didn't seem quite too interesting. It's like an interesting enough premise. Maybe kind of if I was drunk off my ass and there was nothing better to watch. Okay, sure, fine. So I would see it occasionally on my lineup, where it says suggestion, BoJack Horseman, blah blah blah. So it's been a few years, and then recently I decided, what the hell, look this thing up and see what the hell's going on, because it says it's about Hollywood lifestyles, like, you know, the behind the scenes of what happens to various Hollywood stars who get washed up, who don't stay famous, who are nefarious and infamous for self-destruction and doing oddball things. So, I watched it, and I marathoned it. And in the past couple of days of marathoning this thing, while going to work, coming back. And by the way, I'm on a mini break because my car's in the shop. So everyone at work is, I believe, is freaking out over the fact that Jesus God, Gregory is not here. Whatever shall we do? Or something along those lines. They're very dependent upon me. Trust me, I give a lot to my job. I'm one of those very people that could give 110%. But anyway, enough about me. For the moment. So, what is BoJack Horseman? It's a very on the nose, yet also very fanciful look at Hollywood, of life and times behind the scene, behind the music, thing. It stars BoJack Horseman, a washed-up 90s popular TV show called Horsing Around, and he just shows his life of how he was screwed up by his life, by the system. So it's very much it's like a chicken and the egg sort of thing, like it repeats again and again, where he's the victim, but then he makes bad choices, even though he knows what the right thing to do is, and it's very difficult, and it's just this rinse and repeat thing, because we know it's life. No one ever gets better overnight. We become the best version of ourselves after learning all the lessons. No, that's not how life works. You try very, very hard to do the right thing and stay to do the right thing. And I saw a lot of myself in that, where it's very true to life, where, life doesn't get any real easier, and doing the right thing is not always the best thing. And trying to talk about your feelings sometimes is not always something you just like, well, sure, I'll just do that. It's very difficult. It's like, oh, I don't want to talk about my feelings. I don't want to acknowledge this. I want to just move on, but can't. So, and it is an arc. It's like any other movie about people, like Wolf of Wall Street, or not exactly Money Never Sleeps, or Wall Street. It's not like that. It's more like Wolf of Wall Street, where it's when they stick to extreme continuity. So there's no continuity cafuncles anywhere. It is like whatever happened in episode 1, they reference in mid-season 5. It's like, oh yeah, remember that thing from like season 1? Oh yeah. So they keep continuity straight. So it's like, dang, that's actually pretty good. I like that. Where everything matters, because that's supposed to be about life. Everything you do matters, like an anime with the VR thing, where the guy treats it like, oh, it's just whatever, I'll just leave the room because I'm supposed to leave the room and get somewhere to do the quest. But the friends are like, no, if you do that, you will die. And they're like persistent about it, and pushing somebody over, kid calls them to die, and look at that, he died, and it's like, oh, okay, that's strange. This is not supposed to be that realistic, but it is realistic. So it's supposed to be forcefully teaches the person to take life more seriously and less like tropes, Much like in the Owl House, how uh, Luce is like trying to fall back on fantasy tropes because she's in a fantasy world. So it's like, yeah, sure, I'll just do the trope. I'll go on a quest and be, the chosen one, and that's not how real life works. So that's the first like episode of the series, not the pilot episode, but the first episode, which is season two, episode two, where she realizes this is not the fantasy world I thought. So having said all that, so BoJack Horseman is very grounded, even though it has some fanciful things, even though anthropomorphic animals sharing the world with humans. It has a very, this is Hollywood, this is real life, and it pulls no punches. And BoJack goes from event to event in his life, where he gets a gig, or he doesn't have a gig, or he tries to find himself, or he escapes, tries to not necessarily find himself, but just live somewhere peacefully, and then he screws that up. So you feel a lot of sympathy and a lot of things. It's a lot. It's a melting pot of life, is what it is. It covers so much. Friends dealing with him, friends trying to still deal with him, friends trying to still be friends with him. So it's, again, this melting pot of emotions. And the longest through point friends he has in this thing that don't abandon him, currently is his manager, accountant. Yeah, his manager, Princess something or other, I forget, but she's a cat. His ghostwriter named Diane. His friend named Mr. Peanut Butter, who's a dog. Oh, and Diane's just a regular, I think like half Asian girl. And so these are basically a kid's circle of friends, who kind of stick with him the most throughout the course of the series. His friend who's been with him, who's living in his house, who's bumming on his couch, crashing on his couch. He's supposed to be the dumb one of the series, and yet he's smart enough after 3 or 4 seasons and says, you know what, I'm out. I don't want to deal with you right anymore, because he deals with him constantly. So, as dumb as he is, he actually realizes, you know what? No, I can't do this. I can't keep dealing with you. And so each one in different turn does actually abandon him for a brief moment at a time. That guy on his couch being the longest, pretty much. Princess, I forget what her name is, for a brief while, maybe half a season before going back to him. Diane for about maybe also a season or so before going back to him. No, less than that. Like a few episodes, because I went on vacation and stuff. But she always stayed in touch with him and still remained like his friend throughout all that. But she kind of more was like doing it from afar, so like a long distance friendship. And you see people being, friends, lovers, ex-lovers, ex-wives, learning, what is my problem? Why does history keep repeating itself? Because you keep doing something. So the people who keep screwing this shit up isn't society necessarily screwing them up, but mostly they keep screwing them up because society screwed them up, so they keep screwing up themselves. Like Mr. Peanut Butter's like constantly, every like 3 to 4 years he keeps getting a new wife because the old one keeps growing up. But he doesn't. He still keeps, he's like 50 or something like that, but he keeps acting like this young pup with a short attention span and constantly optimistic. That would be grating on any marriage. So, and they kept telling him, like, you keep dating and marrying these young people, but they eventually grow up. You don't. So neither get someone. So neither. So basically, just tells them to basically you need to grow up and stop being this youngster who is constantly just being having a short attention span and can come off as dismissive. So he needs to kind of focus and be more, even though he is attentive to his lovers or wives or whatever, girlfriends, feelings, it's undermined by his base personality. So, But overall, as BoJack Horseman is not shallow, it's not you know, stupid or anything. It has depth. It has layers. It is, it is very, very lifelike. It's very human. It's very humanizing. Again, I see a lot of myself in BoJack. The constant strive to be a better person, not always knowing how. And occasionally keep shooting yourself in the foot. So yeah, it was a very. If you want an experience going through something, that is definitely a going through an experience series. And I feel a bit more wise going through it. It's very, very telling. It's very good. Again, I'm not really spoiling anything for you. There's so much in this series. It is by episode, crammed full of just events and people talking about their feelings, not wanting to talk about their feelings. Again, I have not spoiled like that much as compared to the whole thing. So trust me when I say there is a ton more of stuff to watch and enjoy about the series, and a lot more character growth to be had in the series as well. All right, I'll let you go there so you can go and experience this rather really good show. I mean, I liked it. It's a tragedy and weirdness and just cautionary tale and everything. It's everything. So go watch it. See what you think. All right. And enjoy. Take care. Bye.